Hello everybody and welcome back. So on the previous video we went ahead and we wrote a very simple hello world plugin command, and we didn't get to explore much of different things that we had to do to make a useful plugin. Basically what you see right now on the screen is all that we had to do. We didn't really code it. I just kind of went through it because this is something that you can download from our GitHub account, which is displayed here at the bottom, and you don't have to type it. So um, we just went over it, and right now we're actually going to get into a little bit more of work. So what we're going to do now is we're going to modify this plugin to allow us to customize this message a little bit more, because right now all it really does is hello world. And through this process, we're also going to learn how to control arguments that are passed to a command. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and open another file here called hello world args. And as I scroll down, you're gonna see a couple of things that I did a little bit different. So here we still have the command name, which I changed from hello world to hello world args. And this is a constant, that's why it has this k at the beginning. And then I created kname flag, and that has a value of -n, kname long flags minus name, age flag minus y, and age long flags minus years. So this here is something that if you've done mail, you're probably used to seeing this. You know, mail commands always use these flags to control the command that you're trying to call. So this is pretty much what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and create a new command that takes these two arguments, name and years, in both long and short form. So to do that, first we're going to go ahead and create a subclass of the npx command. So right now we're still going to call it scripted command. The name doesn't really matter because in Python it is all protected under namespace. So even though this and the previous example have the same name, there's not going to be any collision. So inside the scripted command, the first thing we do obviously is create a constructor, and in that constructor we're going to call the constructor of the parent. If we don't do this, then this class will not be properly initialized, and we have to make sure we do that. Next down is the doit function, which is the one that does all the processing for our command. The doit function takes an argument list as a first argument, and if we go over here to our documentation just to give it a good look, I'm gonna go where is it? Let's go here, and so we're going to do npx command. So we're going to go ahead and look a little bit of documentation here. And basically doit takes one argument called arglist. And you see right here, when you hover it, it's going to take you to another page. And this arglist, basically, it gives you a whole bunch of different functions of the things that you can do, like add a new argument, get values back, get values back as double, as string, as distance, as angle, whatever. So the argument list is the main way in which you interact with the arguments that have been passed to the command. So in here, what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable called argdata, and basically we're going to create an instance of margdatabase, and to that we're going to pass an object called syntax. So the next thing we have here is this variable called argdata, and basically this is an instance of the margdatabase class. And the margdatabase on its initializer usually takes a syntax object and an argument list. And this self.syntax is a method that belongs to npx command. And basically what it does, it's going to go ahead and create a syntax object that knows what kind of arguments are accepted. So basically what it's going to do is going to take whatever values are coming in here, and it's going to compare it against the syntax, and it's going to give you an argdatabase that is going to hold all the arguments and all the variables, all the flags that were passed to the command, and it's going to make sure that they are properly set. If it finds, for example, let's say that you pass a flag called -s, And as you see over here, we have not really defined a -s, so this would probably fail and tell you, hey, I don't know what that is. So this basically does a little bit of cleanup and sanitation for you. Then what we're going to do is we're going to start up the name message with the message called hello stranger. And then what we're going to ask the argument database, we're going to ask it, is the flag name kname flag, which is -n, is that flag set? And this is going to return true or false. So if it's set to true, then we're going to go in here and we're going to overwrite name message with the value hello, and then we're going to do a string format here, where we're going to do, we're going to go to the argument database, and then we're going to do dot flag argument string, which basically we're telling it, give me this over here as a string. So that gives us a string. And I believe this here, we would have to go and then we're going to do the same for the age. So for example, you have age message, we're going to initialize this to I don't know your age, and then we're going to ask again to the argument database, is the flag set called name flag? And if it is set, we're going to go ahead and overwrite the message and say you are whatever years old. And then here we're going to take the arg data flag argument double, because this age flag, as you'll see later, we're going to make sure that it's a double, and we're going to typecast it to an integer, because I'm not going to support 1.2 or 1.8. It's just going to be like you're either 5, 10, or 20 years old kind of thing. So we convert it to an integer and we store that, and then at the end what we're going to do is we're just going to print those two messages to the screen. That's all this command is going to do. If we go down here, we have the command creator. And remember, I mentioned this in the previous video. This is extremely important if you want things to work properly. You have to make sure that you have this command creator and you're calling this npx.asNPXPointer, and you give it an instance of the command that you're trying to create inside this plugin. So in here, the next thing we have is a function called syntax creator. So basically this syntax creator is going to create a class called mSyntax, and is going to return it back into the plugin. And you'll see how this is used very soon. So basically we're going to go ahead and create a variable called syntax, which is going to be an instance of mSyntax. And then to it, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do mSyntax.addFlag. And then what you give it is the value of the short flag and the value of the long flag. So, right now we're using variables, but basically this is -n and -name. And then you have to give it the type. And the type you can find, right now we're telling that this is of type mSyntax.kString. And I'm going to show you a little bit documentation of where that is. So if we go ahead and we find, let's go ahead over here and find mSyntax. If you go inside mSyntax, you have here on the top, you have this public types, and it says enum margtype, right? So these are all the argument types that are supported, and as you can see here, basically you access it by giving it name of the package, name of the class, mSyntax. You don't need to do like open and close braces here. You don't need to do something like this because you're not really creating an instance of mSyntax. And then you just give it the value, which you can take directly from documentation. So kboolean is for a boolean, kstring, kdouble, all that kind of stuff. So that's what we did here, kstring and kdouble. And how do we know that this is the call that we need to make to add a flag? Well, we can go back to the documentation, and if you go here and we're still in ksyntax, you can do where is it? Add flag. So under add flags, I'm sorry. Basically, you see that you have a couple of parameters that must be there. These are not optional. So basically, this must be there, and the first one is the short name, which is just a string. Whenever you see const character and asterisk here, that usually means a string. So it's going to take a short name and it's going to take a long name. So you put those two in here, and then after that it's going to ask for the argument type. And basically here it allows you to provide up to 6 argument types, but you know, for our examples we only need one, so that's why we had to do what we did over here. So short name, long name, argument type. The first one is a string, the second one is a double, because we basically want a number, and we're going to return a syntax. Then as we go down here, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did before. We're going to initialize our plugin. I'm going to use a little bit of a different call this time. Basically, we take the parameter nmObject, and we're going to create an instance of MFN plugin with mObject as the first parameter. And then over here, you get to define a little bit more information of your plugin. Basically, this first field right here is the vendor. The second one is the version of the plugin that you have just, you know, basically that you're shipping, or basically you're working on right now. And the last one here usually refers to the minimum version that you need Maya in order for this plugin to support. Like if you're writing a plugin that will only work with version 2010 and up, you would put in there 2010. Since our command basically doesn't really do anything, all it's doing is printing stuff out, then we're just going to define it as any. So then we go ahead and we run our register command. And this register command is a little bit different from the previous one. In the previous one, we only gave it the command name and the command creator. This time around, we're going to give it the command name, the command creator, and the syntax creator. So by doing this, basically, when Maya calls this, now Maya knows what kind of syntax your command will take. And then, of course, we are out if it doesn't work. And then here at the bottom, we have the uninitialized plugin portion of it. So if we go ahead and go over to Maya, now we're going to go ahead and load it over here. So hello world args, and if we click on the little I button here, it should give us some information. So it tells us where the name of the plugin, it tells us the vendor, the plugin version. For API version, unknown, that means it's everything supported. And then here it tells you the command that this plugin supports, because you can support as many commands as you want per plugin. So now that we did that, I'm going to go ahead and do like sp hello world args. So if I call this, you see it gives me the default message, hello stranger, I don't know your age. How about if I go over here and I start using my flags? So -n, we're going to say Rudy. I'm messing up this. And -y for years, we're going to do 35. So if we do this and we evaluate now, it's going to tell me, hello Rudy, you are 35 years old, because it was able to find the flags. If I do something like W, like this, I believe this should fail, because yeah, it doesn't know that it knows that this is an invalid flag. So that's some of the things that the API will take care of for you if you define things properly. If you don't define the age, then you're just probably going to see hello Rudy, I don't know your age. That's how it looks like in Mel. And if we look at this in Python, let me look at the previous example, hello world args. It's the same call. And as you know, Python behaves a little bit different. So here you would do something like name Rudy. And I believe you can also use the short version. So you can do something like y, let me close this, y 32. And if we run this, it works properly. So there you have it. This is pretty much how you will create very simple flags for your command. We are going to have another video later on that's going to be a lot more detail on this process, but you can download this script from our GitHub account and give it a look and see how it is laid out, and follow along. So I hope this was easy enough to understand, and I'll see you guys in the next video where things will get a lot more interesting and they were going to get a lot more complicated. Thank you very much, and talk to you guys later.